Hey there, my Tyler Perry Sistas fans. It's your girl, Barbie J here, and we are talking about Tyler Perry Sistas, Season 4, Episode 18, Enemy of Mine. For some reason, I feel like Enemy of Mine has to do with Hayden. He's about everybody's enemy, if you ask me. But anyway, let's get started quickly with this recap. We got Zach, Fatima, Andy, and D.A. Jefferson are in the interrogation room, and he's saying they are going like for 10 to 15 years because he was Zach was put back on probation due to the child support issue. And Zach's like, it's not my baby. And the DA's like, yeah, we heard that before. And Andy goes to make some phone calls while Zach and Fatima have a moment alone where she's trying to calm him down and shares that if Andy can't do anything, she'll break him out of this place and they'll be on the run. And Zach is looking at her like she crazy. And he feels that every time he's about to come up, things just fall apart. And he's tired of women doing things for him. He thinks because he has money now, he should be able to do things for himself and not be dependent on Fatima and Andy and Dani. But he failed to mention Karen, and then Fatima looked at him and said, and Karen, with a bit of an attitude. I said, yeah, he purposely left that name out. And then we got Andy, who calls Robin and shares with him what is going on with Zach. And Robin tells Andy that he doesn't know how they can do that if Zach, how they could have him arrested and put him back on probation if Zach has never received any info about a court date from his parole officer. So he tells her Zach must be pretty special for her to go, through all of this for him. And she states she believes in him and thinks he deserves a fair shot. She gives him D.A. Jefferson's name, and Robin says he's not the D.A., he's the assistant D.A. Then he tells Andy that he went to school with the D.A.'s daughter and will give her a call. So Andy's like, she used this moment to question Robin, asking him, has he slept with her? Because, he asked her if she had slept with Zach. So he swears he didn't sleep with her. So I was like, yeah, okay, Robin. What do y'all think? Do y'all think Robin slept with her? Do y'all think Robin's that guy? I think he might be that guy. But it's interesting how he was quick to say no. Anyway, then they show Q. He made breakfast for Maurice and tells him he's going to look for a job. And he's tired of hustling. And Maurice is thinking it's a joke and suggests that he tries the bank. He said he's sure management would love to hire someone who tried to rob them. So Q said he'll try some restaurants. They may need someone to clean up and do the dishes. Then Calvin comes out from, I don't know where. It seems like the bathroom, but he's still dressed. Did he sleep in the bathroom? Because his room is in the opposite direction. And so he learns from both Calvin and Q what happened the night before. And Maurice had a pic to prove it, how he was in bed. I don't remember Maurice ever taking a picture, but okay, he has one, with Q. And Calvin is annoyed with them, with Q, what he was doing and all the stuff that Maurice is saying. So he just goes back to his bedroom, which is in the opposite direction. He goes the opposite way he came. So then we have Aaron. He shows up to Karen's salon to return a set of keys he took by accident. And she says that she has her keys and then asks to see them because he's like, well, whose are these? And when she asks to see them, she realizes they were Zach's set of keys for her apartment, that he must have forgotten them when he moved out. She used that it might have been still left on the cushion. I'm like, really? Left on the cushion, Karen? Come on. How would they still be left there? Anyway, Aaron then asks, can he see her tonight? And she says, that'll be fine. And he says he'll bring the pickles and ice cream. She starts smiling. Yeah, So then he leaves. And then Pam comes over and Karen tells Pam to call Zach and tell him to come get his keys. And Pam replies, if he hasn't taken them all this time, he don't want them then. Karen did not like that answer, didn't like that statement. So she said, I'll just send them to him. That's what Pam said. And she said, no, just do what I said, Pam. And so she said, okay, just as soon as he gets out of jail. And she's like, he's still in jail? And that's when Pam learns that Karen knows all about it. So Karen then asked Pam, can she find out, when Zach gets out of jail? And Pam says she'll see what she can do. Ain't Karen funny? So then Bio shows up at the bank with flowers for Sabrina. And I told y'all that outfit that Sabrina had on looked a bit blah, blah, blah. As always in season 14, her outfits have looked. I don't know about that top. The skirt looked like it could be cute, but that top, oh, Lord Jesus, it had too much going on. I didn't know where it was. Is it a forest? Is it flowers? Is it a tree? What is it? Anyway, y'all let me know. If anybody knows what that outfit is she have on, please put it down in the comment section. And then they had Bio say, oh, I just love your style. I thought I was going to fall out laughing about that. Do you now? Oh, do you now love her style? Because it looks crazy. So they go into her office because, Sabrina needs to talk to him. And she asks why he did not tell her that he was a prince. And he wants to know, how did she find out? And she tells him she met the two young ladies from his country. And he was like, you couldn't have. She said, yes, I did. And she showed me this. They showed me this. So he explains it is a big deal in his small country that he is a prince, but it means nothing in America. And he said he's important to his parents, but he's an independent man. So anyway, she just said she thought it'd be nice if he told her that she knew. He then asked Sabrina to meet him for dinner, and it was written on the card, and she agreed. And he wants to send her a car to pick her up because that's how a princess should be treated. And she was like, smiling and giggling and stuff. And so she was, of course she wants to drive herself, but he insists on sending a driver. In the meanwhile, Maurice is spying through Sabrina's office window. And when Bayou leaves, he goes in there and gives Sabrina a hard time about Bayou and Calvin. Then they briefly show Logan showing up to the airport, and he's all dressed very nicely. And Dani says she didn't even recognize who he was, and didn't realize he was such a hunker man, and he laughs and stuff. And they confirm their 7 p.m. dinner that night at the Olive. Okay, that's all they said at Olive. Is it supposed to be Olive something else? I don't know. Anyway, Jake pulls up to Zach's house, and a contractor is waiting there with a bad attitude. And he's waiting for Zach because Zach owes him money that is owed, that is owed him, of course, and his workers. So Jake was going to call Fatima first to ask her about Zach, but then he asked the contractor how much Zach owed. He said $3,500. So Jake asked if he had an invoice, and he wrote him a check for it. Is this check good? The guy saying, and the contractor said it better not bounce. And he was like, whatever, dude. And he walked away. And Jake goes, you could have said thanks, But of course, the contractor didn't. He didn't even turn around and look. Then we got Jake. He calls and asks for Andy Barnes, and then asks to speak with Fatima because he's looking for Zach and haven't seen him in a couple of days. Andy asks who he is and says that he works with Gary and manages the acquisition division. Andy asks Jake a few more questions, which he answers, and then he asks for Fatima's number, and Andy says she'll give her his number instead. So Jake is like, cool. He hangs up with Andy and is still outside Zach's house when Preston drives up in the truck looking for Zach as well. So they've both been calling Zach, but no answer. So is there anyone, this is Jake asking Preston, is there anyone who you can call that may know what's going on with Zach? So Preston stated only one person, but wasn't sure if you should call her. And Jake is like, asked him to please call because he's worried about Zach. So he calls Dani. Dani tells him that Zach is in jail for fighting in Andy's office with some guy named Hayden. When did she become privy to all of this information, y'all? Could somebody tell me? Because I don't remember when Dani was told all of this. I really don't recall it at all. So anyway, she said that that's where Zach is and where he belongs, because she was like, what, you wanted him to so you could talk about me? And he was like, no. She said, well, he's in jail, and that's where he'll be to get your bad advice, and that's where he belongs. And I thought that was so mean why Dani said that, especially since Zach is always saying nice things about her to Preston. She don't know it, but it just shows who Zach is and who Dani is. Anyway, where was I? Zach said, Oh, so he asks her more questions that she can't answer. And then she asked Preston if that's all he called for. And he said yes. And Dani seemed a little disappointed by his answer. I swear she did. Didn't she look upset? So he hangs up and he tells Jake what Dani told him, and Jake runs to get in his car, but Preston says, "Hey, take my number and call me if you need anything." So I guess that's going to be a new, relationship between them two. So anyway, then we have Robin. He stops by Andy's office to let her know that he's leaving, and that Zach should be out getting out soon, and also that she owes him big time. He said, "You owe me big time." She said, "Yeah, big time." I said, "Oh shoot, big time gonna turn into good time. Good times anytime you wanna lay her." Let me stop. Anyway, then he asked if Zach is gonna run right. Is he gonna run? And she's like, "Oh no, she don't think so." So he said he spoke with his friend and her dad, and they spoke with Zach's parole officer, and the parole officer says Zach is a role model, so they're going to let him out, but the assault charges are going to stand. He leaves, and Andy calls Fatima and asks her how soon can she meet her at the jail, and she said in 2 seconds. She's like, "Really?" "Yeah." She said, "How you gonna get there if you supposed to be home?" She said, "Because I'm still out here." She said, "I'm standing outside the jail waiting for my man." I said, "I hear you, girl." She love her some Zach. So as Andy is about to leave, Robin comes back and informs her that Hayden has gotten access to a federal database and has been looking at footage from the airport for hours, and he doesn't know why. Andy is also wondering why, but Robin stated he's sure Hayden is up to something, and he thought he should give her a heads up. So she thanks Robin, and he asks her not to tell a soul about this info. So they're looking into Hayden right now, he said, and the back portal tracing his steps, and he's being audited. Andy asked what did she ask? If it's something, illegal, and Robin said he hopes it is because he doesn't like his ass. I'm sorry. They both say they're gonna miss each other, and he leaves, Then they show Aaron showing up at Gary's office because Gary called him, and to tell him that he bought Andy that daggone penthouse apartment, that she's in there having sex with that dude. And Aaron asked Gary a couple of times, "How do you know that?" And Gary says he can see them through the telescope. And of course, Aaron goes and looks through the telescope and tells Gary that, this is bad. And he told her, if you told her it was her apartment, that she could have whoever she wants up there. And Gary admits that he thought if he bought Andy that apartment, that she'd want to be with him, And Aaron ran the truth down to Gary as he tried to, keep him calm. He kept trying to keep him calm, but he was telling him, "Dude, you can't do nothing, blah, 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 blah." He did just what I thought he would do, talk to him as a buddy and not give him a scolding. He really needed a scolding, but at least he did tell him the truth. And he suggested that Gary just be calm before doing anything. And Gary wants to get up and go over there and talk to Andy now. Andy ain't even home now. Andy at the jail, but he going to get up there and go talk. And that's why I think they got these scenes mixed up some kind of way in TP land. They got these scenes mixed up. It's almost like he can see. When Aaron looked through it, he could see them, it seemed like. But anyway, Aaron won't let him leave until he calms down. And then he said, first thing we need to do is get rid of this telescope. And Gary didn't want to do that, but he said it needs to be done. In the meanwhile, Andy meets Fatima at the jail. She finds out finds out the update on Zach's release, and Fatima said thanks, and that she can leave. Andy can leave. And Andy's like, "You sure?" And then Fatima asked her to please tell Robin. She said thank you as well. So they have a little girl talk about this penthouse and inviting Robin over and stuff. And Andy said, this will be the true test if this is really my place, that Gary gave me. So Fatima tells Andy to be careful. And she says, "I got this." That's what Andy says. "I got this." And Fatima's like, "Well, call me if you need backup." Andy was like, "No, I am not going to do that. Ever. I will never do that." So she gets up, and Zach comes out and says thank you, and Andy leaves, and Zach and Fatima hug, and they have their little talk. And he said, "What's up, jailbird?" And she says, "You know what they say, birds of a feather flock together." That was so cute. And then he said he wanted to take her somewhere. He had a surprise for her, and they leave out of the jail together. And lastly, we see Hayden in the office going through the airport video. This is some bull crap because he can't go through footage. He's supposed to be doing work. First of all, he's supposed to be doing work. How does he have time to look through every day of Zach's life at the airport? How does he end up finding Zach and the senator's wife together talking at the airport? There are so many parts and moving pieces to this. So this part is not making sense. I'm sorry, TP, Tyler Perry, that's not making any sense right now. And you're gonna have to explain this. You got a lot of explaining to do. So that's what happened, y'all. That was the whole show in a nutshell. And sorry I'm putting this up late, but honey, your girl Barbie J got a chance to see Mary J. Blige do a concert, and she sang about 7 songs, and I was cool with that, and I had a good time, and I got home late. And so I guess I'll have to talk to y'all later. So I'll see you in the next video. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.